Hello friends, welcome to my channel Beginners SAP Guide. Today's video is the continuation of the SAP Technical Overview Part 3. Part 2 I have just posted few days back. So let's continue with the video. So first of all, today we are going to know how the SAP request is going to be handled. Now first of all, application server will come into the play where through presentation layer or presentation server through SAP GUI, the user is putting their request. Now after the request has been put by the user, it has come to the application server where the dispatcher will decide what type of work processes should be involved to handle that particular task. Now once that is been decided, it will come to the database layer, database server. Now after the work process will decide what type of task is this, it will come to the database server. Now here, if the request is already been there to the database buffer, then the request will be generated from the buffer itself as output through the presentation server, and if it is not there, then it will come to the database, then take the output from the database, then it will save to the database buffer, then after that through application server it will come to the presentation server and it will generate the output in SAP GUI. So that's the whole process. Let's continue. Now first of all, what is dispatcher? Dispatcher is program which manages resources of the R3 applications, and it receives requests from the user and passes them to the corresponding work process, as I said. Now only one dispatcher per application server is possible. There is only one dispatcher per application server. Let's continue. Task of the dispatcher. So first task is balancing the workload between processes. Second is buffer management in main memory. Third is connection with presentation level, and fourth one is organization of the communication processes. So these are the four tasks dispatcher is actually handling. Now come to the next slide. So what are the work processes responsible for? So work process is actually responsible for executing the R3 applications task, which is including of task handler, above for processor, dialog interpreter and dialog interface. Along with that, work process is actually working together. Come to the next one. Now come to the different kind of work processes for different tasks. What are the work processes? One is dialog, second is batch, third is update, fourth is spool, then enqueue, and in the right hand side can see message server and gateway server. Now message server is actually communicating between the instances. Now if I come out of the SAP system and go to communicate with other servers, then the gateway will come into play. So that's the main concept. So come to the detail one by one. What is dialog work process? Now it is responsible for interactive task to the R3 system. Now when the user is putting input through keyboard, they are actually interacting with the SAP GUI. So that's the dialog work process come into play. Now dialog work process execute only one dialog step at a time and are immediately freed from the next user request. That means when you put some request through one screen, once the screen will be completed, only then it will be moved to the next screen. Until unless it will be freed for the next user to use, it will not be able to move on. Now it can be happening that constantly switching between users, it is possible because some user is updating the record and it is been done, then it will be free for other user to update the record. So that's how it will work. Come to the background work process. It is responsible for the executing above programs submitted for the background execution, which is called batch jobs, which is scheduled in sequence of program execution. So as long the program will be executed, the batch jobs will be scheduled accordingly. So it is used for running long and time consuming processes or programs. Now dialog processes are those which is running for shortened time processes, which is been done immediately. Those are dialog processes. Now in case of batch job means it will be longer to complete the task, so we'll schedule as background. So that's the difference between dialog and background. Come to the spool work processes. Now it is responsible for formatting the data for printing and passing it to the host pool system. That means When you put the printing request from the SAP system will send this data to the host pool system. That means to your OS system. There is host pool system is there. From there the printing is actually happening. So only one spool walk process is allowed per server. Per server only one walk process is there. Now come to the next one. This is the NQ work process. It is responsible for lock management system. I have just described in my previous video what is lock system, right? So it is the part of that. Now it synchronizes the database access for multiple application servers and work processes, and only one NQ process per RT system to ensure the integrity of the system. Come to the next one. Now update work process. Now it is responsible for making database changes requested by dialog and background process. Data performance, this process should be on the database server. To get the faster performance, we are putting it to the database server. Come to the next one. Now V1 and V2 are two types of update process. So first one is time critical processor inside V1 and less time critical ones with V2. Now the thing is that if the V1 is not processed correctly and is not been updated, then V2 is not possible to run because V1 is already been failed. So we need to make sure that V1 process should run properly and successfully, only then it will come to the V2. Error situations can happen, changes rolled back, components not executed, and only changes of V2 components rolled back. That means suppose V1 has run successfully up to certain part, then rest of the part is already been failed, then it will be system will roll back to the previous position. Now once it is successful, in case of V1 it is successful, the component of V2 is going to be executed. Now it is again failed, that means only V2 changes are been rolled back because V1 is successful but V2 is not successful, so only the V2 components will be rolled back to the previous position. So that's all for today. We'll come with another video, the next in detail part of the technical overview of SAP, then we'll move on along with the flow. So thank you for being with me with patience, and if you like my video, please do share, subscribe and comment, and don't forget to press the bell button so that when I put any video in my channel, you'll get the notification of it immediately. So thank you so much. We'll meet with you soon with another video.